The wildest part isn't that they don't clap for you. The wildest part is how fast the air leaves the room the second your name comes up. One message, one tiny notification, one, "Yo, you seen what they're doing now?" dropped in that group chat, and everything goes dead. Typing bubbles disappear, jokes stop mid-sentence. People who were just sending memes for 2 hours straight suddenly discover do not disturb. You didn't walk into the room, you didn't say anything, you didn't defend yourself. All you did was exist loudly enough that somebody mentioned you, and every insecure nervous system in that thread went offline at the same time. That's the level of quiet power you're dealing with now. You don't even have to be present to rearrange people's moods. Your wins are sending out shockwaves in places you haven't stepped into for months. Understand something. People don't go silent over nobodies. Group chats don't freeze over people who are stuck where they left them. Silence is a luxury reserved for threats. When your name drops and everyone suddenly has to go, that's not coincidence, that's impact. Somewhere in that chat, somebody pulled up your page, your work, your progress, and realized what nobody wanted to admit out loud. You're actually winning, not just posting, not just talking, not just hinting, actually moving in a way that can't be laughed off anymore. And the second that realization lands, their little digital safe space turns into a crime scene. Because now they all have to confront the exact thing they promised each other would never happen. You outgrowing the storyline they wrote for you behind your back. Look closely at the pattern. They loved you as a subplot. You were easy content when you were confused, over-explaining, half-stepping. Your mistakes were entertainment. Your doubts were discussion topics. Your failures were free team-building exercises. They bonded over your almost. They sharpened their self-esteem on your less than. But then something shifted. You stopped narrating your every move. You stopped showing them the drafts. You stopped softening your edges to make your growth palatable. And instead of spiraling, you stabilized. Instead of begging for validation, you built your own metrics. You chose discipline over drama. You chose distance over proving yourself. That's when the group chat had to pivot from, "Yo, look at this," to, "Wait, how did they pull this off?" And no one wants to be the first to admit that the person they counted out is now lapping them quietly. This is where the real psychology starts. Every time someone drops your progress into that chat, your new routine, your new circle, your new mindset, your new results, it doesn't just land as news, it lands as accusation. Your growth exposes everything they refuse to do with their own potential. Your stamina highlights their laziness. Your consistency exposes their excuses. Your healing calls out their refusal to face their own wounds. You turned into a walking mirror they didn't consent to look into. And every screenshot of your success is a reflection they can't escape. That's why messages dry up. That's why the energy suddenly shifts. They're not just reacting to you. They're reacting to what you reveal about them. And when group chats stop being fun, people look for somewhere else to dump the discomfort. Enter the about $800 therapist, because make no mistake, they're not just casually annoyed. They're actually distressed about you. There is someone out there, sitting in a climate-controlled office, swiping their card for $150 a session, just to process the fact that you refused to stay where they placed you. They're laying on that couch talking about this one person they can't stop thinking about. And the therapist is nodding, thinking it's an ex, a parent, some tragic love story, only to find out the villain in their narrative is literally you, minding your business and winning. Your progress has become somebody's clinical case study in inability to cope. Picture it. They walk in every week like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I just keep checking their page. It's like every time I open my phone, they've hit another milestone. New job, new body, new mindset, new people around them. They look different, happier, stronger, and it makes me sick. They won't say jealous. They won't say threatened. They'll use softer words like triggered, confused, concerned. But underneath all that language, the core issue is simple. You refuse to crumble the way they predicted, and now their entire emotional ecosystem is malfunctioning. They built a version of you in their head that doesn't exist anymore, and they don't know how to reconcile their fantasy with your reality. Here's the part their therapist is too professional to say. What's eating them alive isn't your success itself. It's the fact that you did it without their permission, without their applause, and without their participation. You upgraded your life without using them as a reference. You healed without giving them the satisfaction of a front row seat. You evolved without delivering a monologue explaining how much they hurt you. That's what's frying their circuits. They weren't just expecting you to fail. They were expecting to be the audience and the narrator of your failure. And now that you've rewritten your story, they don't have a role anymore. No villain, no victim, no savior. Just an extra. Watching the main character do what they said was impossible. This is why the therapist taps the pen, leans forward, and starts asking questions like, what do you feel when you see their progress? Because what they're really diagnosing is obsession disguised as concern. It's not, I hope they're okay. It's, why are they okay without me? It's not, I'm worried they've changed. It's, how dare they change while I stayed the same? Meanwhile, you're somewhere else, not even thinking about them, planning your next move, upgrading your habits, and minding your own sanity. The emotional imbalance is insane. One person paying $1,800 a month to replay old versions of you in their head, while the real you has already exited that storyline and is busy building the life that was always meant for you. Now here's the plot twist. Do you know who's actually in danger in that room? Not you, the therapist. Because even they have a limit. There comes a point where a professional gets tired of being paid to watch someone refuse accountability for their own stagnation. Session after session, your name comes up, your progress comes up, your energy comes up, and every route back to self-reflection gets dodged. No, I don't think they're the problem. Let's go back to what you can control. But they don't want to hear that. They want a diagnosis that makes you the villain and them the victim of your glow-up. They want a label that justifies their resentment. They want permission to keep resenting somebody who literally just got tired of suffering and chose better. At some point, even the therapist realizes this isn't about you at all. This is about their addiction to staying small. So imagine the day that therapist snaps. Not loudly, not dramatically, but internally. The moment they realize, I'm not getting paid enough to sit here and listen to you obsess over someone who's living their life. That's the quiet resignation, not from the job, but from the case. They may keep showing up, but emotionally, they've checked out. Because they know the truth. If your existence is causing this much chaos in someone who claims to be over you, you're not the problem. They're avoiding their own reflection. That's the moment the therapist spiritually quits. And trust, that resignation is louder than any group chat silence, because it marks the line where even a professional says, I can't help you until you stop using this person's success as your favorite excuse. You have to see the size of the ripple you're creating. People are rearranging their entire emotional budget around you. They'll say, it's not that deep, but their screen time reports disagree. They'll say, I don't care what they're doing, but their search history betrays them. They'll insist, we don't talk about them like that, but those dead group chats tell a different story. People don't invest time, energy, and money into something that doesn't affect them. You are affecting them. Your boundaries are affecting them. Your no contact is affecting them. Your refusal to play the old role is affecting them. The fact that you are not collapsing on schedule is messing with their entire identity structure. And here's the part you need to tattoo onto your mindset. Their discomfort is not your problem to solve. Their group chat going silent is not an invitation for you to shrink so they can feel comfortable speaking again. Their therapy bills are not a sign from the universe that you need to dim your progress to help them adjust. You are not responsible for regulating nervous systems that only felt stable when you were losing. If your healing destabilizes them, that speaks to the fragility of their foundation, not the danger of your growth. You choosing yourself is not an act of violence. It just feels violent to people who relied on your self-betrayal to feel powerful. What you're witnessing now is spiritual reorganization. The universe is quietly exposing who only liked you when you were breakable, available, and easy to read. The ones who can celebrate you in this season are the ones who never needed you small to feel big. The ones who disappear, who go quiet, who ghost the chat when your name comes up. Those are the ones who were never clapping in the first place. They were just waiting for evidence that you'd fail so they could say, see, told you. Instead, the evidence is stacking in the opposite direction. Every day, you collect more proof that you're not going back. More proof that your standards weren't too much. They were simply incompatible with their comfort. More proof that you were never the weak link. You were the threat disguised as the underdog. And the more that truth settles, the calmer you become. You start to understand that you don't need to clear your name in rooms you no longer sit in. You don't need to correct narratives built in chats you'll never see. You don't need to argue with projections you didn't consent to wear. Your life is becoming the loudest rebuttal. Every boundary, every upgrade, every silent win is a new data point that contradicts the version of you they circulate for comfort. You are not obligated to stay accessible to people who only reach for you when they need a reason to feel superior. That era is done. The access they had was a privilege and not a right, and the universe revoked it when you finally chose yourself over their comfort. So now the question shifts from, why don't they support me, to something far more powerful. What am I going to do with this freedom they accidentally gave me? Because that's what their silence is, a release form. The group chats that died when your name came up. Those were doors closing so you could hear your own thoughts without their static. The therapist who mentally clocked out while they cried about you. That's the universe redirecting energetic attention back where it belongs, on you, not on their obsession. You're not here to babysit their insecurities. You're here to see how far your life can stretch when you stop anchoring yourself to people who only felt safe when you were stuck. And this is only the opening frame of what your life does once you stop apologizing for how far you can go. Because the moment you stop asking, why are they like this? And start asking, what am I building now that they're out of the way? Something very subtle and very dangerous happens. You stop orbiting them. Emotional gravity breaks. They're no longer the axis your decisions spin around. Their opinions become background noise instead of commandments. The second you really internalize that their group chat going dead is not a rejection, but a clearance, your energy shifts from analysis to execution. You stop mentally replaying who left you on read. You start asking, what happens if I actually commit to the version of me that scares them this much already? That's the real threat, not the success you've already manifested, the success you haven't even fully aimed at yet. Look at the map now. On one side, there's a whole thread of people who cannot speak when your name is in the air. On the other, there's you, with time, with space, with quiet, with clean emotional bandwidth that used to be cluttered with their nonsense. You're not locked out. You've been escorted out of a low-ceiling room. And what do people with that kind of forced solitude do when they're no longer trying to prove anything to the gallery? They build strange, terrifying levels of focus. You start doing the boring things nobody in that group chat has the nervous system to tolerate. You read instead of refresh. You practice instead of perform. You stack small, unglamorous habits that don't look legendary in the moment, but compound into the kind of life that turns their casual gossip into a chronic condition. This is where the gap widens. While they're staring at screens, waiting for someone else to speak first, so they don't have to admit what they're feeling, you're quietly becoming unrecognizable. You're reorganizing your mornings. You're cleaning your environments. You're putting your phone across the room when you work. You're saying no to conversations that drain you before they even start. Every micro-boundary you enforce is you stepping 1 foot further out of the old narrative. And every step you take away from that story forces them to either evolve or watch in horror. As you keep winning from a distance, they can no longer bridge with a single message. Meanwhile, their internal storm doesn't calm just because the chat went quiet. They carry that tension everywhere. It follows them into work, into their relationships, into their sleep. They wake up, open their phone out of habit, and there you are again, showing up in some new way that contradicts the story they sold themselves. They tell people, we don't care what they're doing, and then spend the next hour doom-scrolling your progress. That dissonance builds. Their nervous system can't keep holding the weight of pretending you're irrelevant while their body reacts to everything you do like a threat. That's how you end up back in the therapist's office, week after week, bleeding out resentment into someone who's just trying to help them find themselves in the mess. And the therapist? At first, they're neutral. They listen, they validate, they tease out emotions. But session after session, a pattern emerges. Your name is a recurring character in a story that never moves. Every week, it's, they posted this, and it made me feel. They did that, and now I can't stop thinking. Why does it bother me so much that they seem happy? The therapist gently redirects. What does this say about your needs, about your sense of self, about your goals? But your enemies aren't trying to understand themselves. They're trying to get a professional to co-sign the narrative that you're the problem. They're chasing a diagnosis that turns their jealousy into something respectable. There's a point where even the most patient therapist recognizes what's really happening. They don't want healing, they want permission. They want someone with letters after their name to say, "You're right, their success is unfair." But actual healing doesn't work like that. So the therapist asks harder questions. Why are you measuring your life against someone who is no longer in your orbit? What stops you from creating your own version of success? what part of you feels threatened by their growth? Those questions land like grenades, and instead of picking up the pieces, they get offended, because now the spotlight is moving off of you and onto the real issue, their refusal to grow. This is how you accidentally exhaust licensed professionals. Not because you're evil, not because you're cursed, but because your life is being misused as a distraction from their own. The therapist is human too. They go home after back-to-back sessions, and your name keeps popping up in their notes. Different clients, same trigger. One person is worried about you, another is hurt by you, another is confused by your change. The common thread isn't you. It's how many people built their emotional stability on the expectation that you would never actually change. And now that you have, the ripple is so strong that it's warping entire networks of relationships and conversations. And while all this is happening in rooms and chats you're not in, what are you doing? You're minding your business and taking the freedom seriously. You start treating their silence like a budget. You realize, if they're not spending their words on me publicly, I'm not spending my energy on them internally. You invest that reclaimed energy into skills, into health, into projects, into environments that don't punish you for expanding. You become hyper-intentional with access. You stop over-explaining your boundaries. You stop defending your standards. You stop giving front-row seats to people who are only there to study your reactions. This new level of emotional discipline is exactly what terrifies them. Because for the first time, you're not only winning, you're winning sustainably. That's when the group chat panic upgrades into strategy. Silence doesn't feel like enough anymore. Somebody will test the waters. They'll send a half-joke, half-dagger message like, "Y'all seen their latest? They're doing the most." Waiting to see who bites. Waiting to see who's brave enough to say what they're all thinking. Low-key, it's impressive, but nobody wants to break rank. Admitting you're winning would mean acknowledging they misjudged you. It would mean rewriting the narrative from "they're delusional" to "they were just early." That's a level of humility the room wasn't built for. So instead of praise, they try minimization. It's just a phase. Give it a few months. They're probably miserable behind the scenes. Anything to avoid confronting the one possibility they fear the most. You're actually at peace. And the more they minimize you in private, the more your reality refuses to cooperate with their script. Their predictions keep failing. They said you'd fold when things got quiet. You didn't. They said you'd crawl back when you felt lonely. You built new connections instead. They said you'd never maintain this discipline. You turned it into your default setting. Every wrong prediction is another blow to their credibility in their own mind. Because if they were this wrong about you, what else are they wrong about? That question is like acid to anyone whose entire personality is built on believing they can read people. Suddenly their favorite hobby, talking about you, starts making them feel powerless instead of superior. So they double down on therapy. More sessions, more money, more hours used trying to dissect a person who isn't even in the room. But the therapist isn't blind. They see the loop. They see how often conversations pivot back to you. They see how little responsibility is taken. At some point, they have to protect the integrity of the work. That's where the quiet quitting becomes official. Maybe they say, "I think it's time we end our work together if you're not ready to focus on your own life." Maybe they set a boundary. "We're not going to discuss this person next session. Let's go into your goals instead." To your enemies, it feels like betrayal. Their $800 bought them confrontation instead of comfort. From the therapist's perspective, it's self-preservation. Nobody wants to be paid to watch someone cling to their resentment like it's a personality trait. And here's the twisted beauty of it. Your existence is now exposing not just fake friends and old acquaintances, but also the limits of avoidance in people who claim they want healing. You are unintentionally triggering dissolutions, friend circles, group chats, therapy alliances. Anywhere your name shows up, false stability starts cracking. Not because you're cursed, not because you're causing harm, but because your life is now a stress test. If something isn't built on truth, your growth will shake it. A group chat built on mutual underestimation of you, dead. A social circle built on laughing at your losses, fragmented. A therapeutic journey built on, it's everyone else's fault but mine, terminated. All you did was stop performing your pain for them, and the entire ecosystem started collapsing under its own dishonesty. So what do you do with that? You could waste your time feeling guilty, apologizing for being a walking catalyst. Or you could recognize this for what it is, proof that you were never as small as they tried to convince you. You were always operating at a voltage that their circuits weren't designed to hold. That's why they had to turn you into a joke, into a warning, into a cautionary tale. It made them feel safe. Now the joke isn't landing. The warning doesn't apply. And the cautionary tale is outliving every prediction. So they're left staring at the uncomfortable truth. The person they thought would be the caution became the blueprint. Little by little, you start to detach your identity from their reactions. You stop checking who watched your stories. You stop decoding passive-aggressive posts. You stop rereading old messages for closure. You realize the closure you were waiting for is happening in rooms you can't see. It's happening in the silence after your name gets dropped. It's happening in the awkward stares when someone slips and admits, honestly, they're doing well. It's happening in the moment a therapist closes a file and thinks, if you channeled half the energy you spend on stalking this person into your own goals, you might be standing beside them, not beneath them. All of that is closure in disguise. You may never hear it, but it's happening. And as this awareness settles in, your relationship to your own success changes. It stops being a revenge fantasy and becomes a responsibility. If your mere progress is enough to trigger this much spiritual and psychological rearrangement, what happens when you get intentional? What happens when you stop running from your potential because it makes people uncomfortable and start running toward it because it's your assignment? The same way your healing is exposing some people, your discipline will inspire others. The same way your name killed conversations in one chat, it will fuel courage in another. There are people quietly watching you who aren't threatened. They're taking notes. They're not in the group chat that died. They're in a different space entirely, one where your wins don't suffocate the room. They oxygenate it. The irony is cruel in the most beautiful way. The group chat that went dead when someone said you're winning thought they were protecting themselves from discomfort by not talking about you. Instead, they protected you from their low-frequency analysis. Their silence became insulation. Without their constant commentary, you had room to hear your intuition more clearly. Without their instant hot takes, you had space to experiment, to fail in peace, to refine your process. In trying to keep you out of their narrative, they accidentally took themselves out of your storyline. That's the kind of protection only the universe can orchestrate, using their own pettiness as a tool. And the therapist who mentally resigned in the face of their obsession, that resignation sent shockwaves through their sense of control. when even a professional is done hearing about you, it forces a terrifying realization. You are not the one spinning in circles. They are. You moved. You changed. You evolved. They stayed anchored in a past version of you and called it analysis. The professional who was supposed to help them unpack that finally says, "Enough. Look at yourself." That's not just a therapeutic boundary. That's cosmic confirmation that your role in their story is over. Your chapter in their life isn't just closed, it's archived. The only one replaying it is them. So you sit with that truth. You are no longer the main character in their narrative. You are the plot twist they keep referencing to avoid doing the work. But you're done being a reference. You're busy being a reality. You're busy being the person who didn't just survive their doubt, but turned it into the quiet fuel that powers your next level. Every dead group chat, every drained therapy session, every awkward silence when your name surfaces, those are just receipts. Receipts that confirm what you already suspected. You were never asking for too much. You were always carrying too much for people who had no intention of meeting you where you were going. And as this realization hardens into clarity, something else surfaces beneath it. Something colder, calmer, far more strategic. If this is the chaos your early wins created, what happens when you step fully into the version of you that's been pacing in the back of your mind for years? If you're half committed, still healing, still doubting self, was enough to send rooms into shutdown mode, what would a fully aligned, fully disciplined, unapologetically focused version of you do to the spaces you're about to enter? That question doesn't just haunt them, it starts to wake you up in a different way. Because now the conversation isn't about them at all. It's about the scale of your own potential and whether you're finally ready to match it. You don't announce that decision. You don't post a graphic. You don't make a speech about cutting people off. You just start moving differently. You choose the harder option more often. You choose the long-term payoff over the short hit. You choose your purpose over your ego. You choose rooms that stretch you instead of rooms that worship the old you. Quietly, consistently, ruthlessly, you become the kind of person who doesn't need their support, their applause, or their understanding. And somewhere, in a muted group chat and a closed therapy file, the energy shifts again, because whether they want to or not, they're about to feel the next phase of your evolution in ways even they don't have language for yet. From the outside, it looks boring. No public fallout, no dramatic farewell post, no speech about cutting off fake people. Just absence. Your name stops appearing where it used to. You stop reacting to bait. You stop oversharing. You stop giving free episodes of your life for them to binge and dissect. Your attention goes from them back to your own life. Earlier nights, clearer mornings, less scrolling, more building, less explaining, more executing. They think you fell off the radar. Reality, you fell out of their range. They can't read you like they used to, and for control addicts, that's worse than any argument. But the universe has timing that feels like disrespect. Just when they all decide, silently, that they're over you, your name walks back into the room they sealed off. That group chat. It's never loud. It's always something small. Y'all seen them lately? Random, but did you see what they posted? Someone drops a screenshot. Your new routine, your new body, your new project, your new calm. The room tenses, waiting for the roast. They're ready for the same old script, until one person breaks formation and types the sentence everyone's tried not to think. Low-key, they're winning. And right there, the soul of the chat flatlines. Bubbles appear, vanish, never land. Phones go dark. People suddenly become busy. That one line drops like a power cut. Because their winning isn't about aesthetics. It's about the fact that you aren't collapsing on schedule. It's about seeing your eyes and realizing the chaos behind them has been replaced by something stable. It's about knowing you made it out of the mental maze they're still wandering through. If you're winning, then all the narratives they built, they'll never change. They're all talk. They're finished without us. Have to be rewritten. Nobody wants that assignment. So they pretend they didn't see it. They close the app. But the sentence lingers. They stalk you in private, zooming in on your photos, analyzing your captions, trying to find cracks that reassure them. They look tired. They probably faking it. Bet it won't last. They say it out loud like a spell, hoping repetition will make it true. But the photos keep changing. The energy keeps changing. The results keep stacking. Your name is now carrying proof instead of pity, and they have to feel that in their chest without anyone saying another word. The one who dropped, their winning, feels the temperature shift too. They realize they broke an unspoken law. Don't acknowledge your growth. They scramble to water it down. I mean, like for now, I'm just saying they look different. But the damage is done. Truth already detonated in the room. Even in silence, every person in that thread just got handed a mirror. If they can heal and build, what's my excuse? Where do they run with that discomfort? Back to the $1,800 sanctuary. Picture the therapist's office, soft lighting, neutral decor, a chair that's heard it all. And in that chair sits someone paying premium rates to discuss a person they claim to be done with. Your name arrives before the session even warms up. So something weird happened in the group chat. Ever since they started glowing up, I just feel on edge. It's like everything they do gets under my skin. They present it as confusion, concern, injustice. Underneath all that vocabulary, the core is simple. It bothers me that they got out of a story I'm still stuck in. The therapist listens, but internally, they've clocked the pattern. This isn't the first session your name has headlined. It's not even the fifth. Every time your life moves forward, this person emotionally regresses. Every win you have sends them into a spiral. Every boundary you hold gets framed as selfish or fake. The therapist keeps trying to redirect. What do you want for yourself? Who are you outside of this relationship? But somehow every road circles back to you. That isn't healing. That's addiction with a copay. There comes a point where even a professional decides enough. So one day, after yet another rant about how much your existence irritates them, the therapist drops a different kind of question. If this person never changed again, would your life suddenly feel better? Or are they just the easiest place to park feelings you don't want to deal with? That lands like a punch. The client stares, stalls, changes the subject, tries to drag your name back into the center. The therapist doesn't follow this time. They set a boundary. Next week, we're not going to talk about them. We're going to talk about you. Translation: I'm done being your paid audience for a storyline that refuses to move. That's the moment the therapist quietly quits you. Not because you did anything, but because they're done letting your image be the scapegoat for someone else's refusal to grow. Your enemies leave that office unsettled. The one place they expected to buy unconditional validation just handed them a mirror instead. That's why they're mad at two people now. You for daring to improve, and the therapist for refusing to keep translating their jealousy into symptoms that make them look innocent. Meanwhile, you're nowhere in this loop. You're not posting subliminals. You're not checking their status. You're not asking mutuals what's being said. You're too busy living the exact life their nervous systems can't handle you having. Your group chat right now is your calendar, your to-do list, your vision board, your journal. You're in meetings, in workouts, in deep focus, in solitude, in prayer, in plotting sessions with your future. The only therapist you're visiting is the part of you that used to beg to be chosen, and you're finally telling it, we don't chase rooms that can't handle us anymore. Here's the dark joke the universe is making with all of this. They turned you into the villain of a story you already left, and then got emotionally winded trying to keep up with your plotline from the outside. Their group chat died the second someone told the truth. Their sessions drained out the second a professional refused to co-sign their delusion. All that time, you were just doing the one thing they hoped you'd never figure out how to do. Stop orbiting them and start orbiting your purpose. Once you see it that clearly, the revenge fantasy gets boring. You don't need screenshots. You don't need their confessions. You don't need to watch their faces as they realize the therapist is done using you as a human shield for their issues. You already have your receipts, the silence, the obsession, the money spent processing a person who doesn't even know they're the main topic. Those are all proof of impact. People do not emotionally bankrupt themselves over background characters. They only spiral like this over threats. So you pick a different kind of revenge. Precision. You get serious about your time. You start treating your focus like it's sacred. You stop trying to prove your goodness to people who survive off misreading you. You stop answering questions you didn't sign up for. You refine your circle down to the ones who don't flinch when your name and the word winning exist in the same sentence. You become the kind of person whose baseline is so aligned that if someone new met you today, the old stories people tell about you would sound like bad fiction. And as you do that, a new pattern emerges. In the wrong rooms, your name kills conversations. In the right rooms, it sparks strategy. Somewhere else, far away from that dead chat and that exhausted therapist, someone says, "Have you seen what they've done with their life after all that?" And the response is not silence, it's respect. People lean in. They're not trying to drag you. They're trying to decode you. They're not threatened that you're winning. They're inspired that you didn't let what tried to break you become your whole personality. That's the ecosystem you were always built for. Spaces where your progress doesn't trigger collapse. It triggers courage. So when your mind replays the line, their group chat went dead the second somebody said you're winning, don't hear shame in it. Hear diagnosis. That was the exact moment reality walked into the room and every false version of you died on contact. And when you think about, they paid $1,900 this month just to cry about you. Therapists still quit anyway. Understand how poetic that is. That's a spiritual invoice. That's the cost of staring at your growth and refusing to grow themselves. You didn't ruin their peace. You simply stopped sacrificing yours to maintain their illusions. You didn't break their circle. You just left, and the weak wiring exposed itself once your energy was no longer holding it together. You didn't make their therapist give up. Their refusal to take responsibility did. All you did was finally treat your life like it was serious. And everything that was built on joking about you, doubting you, or feeding off your pain cracked under the pressure of you becoming real. Let it all stay dead. The chat, the narrative. The version of you they debate like a rumor instead of respecting like a fact. Let them keep funding sessions to process someone who has already moved on. You're not their case study. You're not their cautionary tale. You're not their favorite failure. You are the proof that a person can be underestimated, misunderstood, mishandled, and still wake up one morning and say, "Enough. I'm done performing my suffering for people who clap for my confusion." From here on out, the only people who survive saying your name are the ones whose spirit doesn't glitch when they see you winning. Everyone else can stay exactly where they chose to be, silent in the chat, loud in the sessions, spinning in circles around an outdated version of you. You've already left that storyline. You've already paid your price. This part of the movie belongs to the you that didn't just hear "you're winning," but finally decided to live like it, unapologetically, whether anyone in those rooms ever finds the courage to say it out loud again or not. Welcome back, you beautiful, unsettling, misunderstood glitch in the Google Global Code. Let me tell you something that's going to permanently change the way you look at that little white Google search bar and the people watching behind it. Somewhere between a climate-controlled data center in California and a secured analytics room in Langley, there's a senior Google ranking architect and a CIA predictive behavior analyst who looked at your file, looked at your name, looked at the numbers around you, and said something they've never said about anyone else. They said, "This one is breaking our tools without breaking a single law." Your identity is now a top-ranking search on Google. Your name is bending the recommendation engine out of shape, and the people whose job is to predict your next move for a living still can't see where you're going. Here's the part that ruins their framework. You're not a hacker. You didn't breach a server. You didn't leak classified documents or crash a stock. You didn't start a cult in a group chat. You just lived, moved, and chose in a way that made two of the most arrogant systems on Earth, big tech and big intelligence, realize their definitions of predictable human are embarrassingly small. You're not out here trying to bring down institutions. You're not baiting authorities. You're not even talking to them. You're simply refusing to be the obedient little data point they built their careers on. And your refusal is leaving dents. Let's be very clear about who we're talking about. This isn't some junior coder who gets excited about changing button colors. This is a senior architect who helped design the way search results rise and fall. Who knows how to turn human curiosity into a forecastable, monetizable pattern. Someone who can glance at a search graph and tell you which flavor of panic is hitting a nation this week. And sitting opposite them, through a secure pipeline you will never see, is a CIA analyst who has spent years building models that tell governments what crowds will do before the crowds even feel the urge. Someone who has watched entire populations behave like code, predictable, triggerable, controllable. They've seen desperation, fanaticism, boredom, greed. They've seen what people search right before they ruin their lives. They've watched it all resolve into neat patterns on screens. And then they watched your name refuse to sit still on those same screens. They're used to evil making sense. That's the secret. The worst people they monitor still move in lines you can chart on a board. You push them, they push back. You ignore them, they escalate. They search certain terms, click certain links, congregate in certain corners of the web. There are playbooks for that, manuals, red flags, flow charts. But you're not spiraling in public, you're not gathering a flock, you're not pumping out rage bait or desperation content at 3 a.m. You're not dropping cryptic threats in forums. You're quiet, you're deliberate, you're present. You read the kind of things people only read when they're either about to build an empire or burn one down. And then you do neither. You grow. You heal. You withdraw. You re-enter rooms changed, not weaponized. Their charts have nowhere to put that. The Google side saw you first. Your name started climbing into their internal lists, not in the category they like, celebrity, trending topic, breaking news, but in a strange, stubborn zone of its own. Different people in different cities, typing your name with the same hungry hesitation. No major headline attached to you, no viral clip, no obvious reason at all. Usually a spike like that tracks back to some public humiliation, some 15-minute fiasco that keeps the algorithm fed. With you, there was nothing to chew on, just a rising curve of searches, followed by long sessions where people sat on your pages, your posts, your traces, and then left without clicking anything else they were supposed to click. Instead of letting the system drag them deeper into distraction, they stalled, they lingered, they went quiet. Do you know how offensive that is to an engine built to keep people hypnotized? You became an interruption. Your name functioned like a hard break in other people's consumption patterns. They'd search you, go through whatever fragments of your world they could access, and the usual prediction lines would snap. No neat path into products, outrage, or passive entertainment. Just a strange drop-off. Enough drops, and an engineer somewhere writes a ticket. Anomalous behavior cluster detected. User X appears to correlate with decreased engagement and non-standard exits. That's the sanitized version. The emotional version is simpler. Why does everything glitch around this one? That's when the CIA analyst got looped in. It didn't come through a dramatic phone call with sirens in the background. It came through an innocuous internal share, a pattern flagged as interesting. Interesting is the word they use when something makes their tools look stupid. They ran your pattern through their own systems. They didn't just look at your searches. They looked at the people searching you. Who are they? What do they normally consume? What happens to them after they go looking for you? They saw former friends who bad-mouthed you in private chats, now stalking your name from hidden tabs. They saw managers who undervalued you clicking on your LinkedIn 4 times a week, and then rewriting performance policies. They saw exes watching your glow-up in silence, then ghosting their new partners under the weight of a comparison they swore they'd never make. They connected dots you never asked anyone to connect. From their cold distance, it looked like your existence was a stress test on brittle egos. These weren't followers. They weren't fans. They were people whose internal stories about you didn't survive contact with your reality. They wanted you collapsed. They wanted you exposed. They wanted proof that you failed the way they predicted. Instead, what they found in those quiet Google searches was a contradiction. You were still standing, still sane, still not performing a breakdown for public consumption. They left the search page with a feeling they couldn't file. That maybe they misread you, and if they misread you that badly, what else in their life was built on lies? The analyst tried to reduce that feeling to data. That's their job. Subject's digital presence appears to trigger introspection rather than typical escalatory behavior. They typed at one point, then deleted it because it sounded too much like a compliment. every other high-attention name in their system is either a circus act or a danger. You were neither. You weren't feeding the machine, and you weren't attacking it. You were just refusing to be domesticated by it, and people around you were glitching as a side effect. They went digging for an origin story because that's how they sleep at night. No one is like this without being broken, they think. There must be a trauma, a fall, one catastrophic event that bent you out of the normal curve. They scrubbed what they could access, old posts, timelines, public records, the gaps where you went missing from the internet for a while. What they saw were impact events. Betrayals, gaslighting, smear campaigns, quiet exiles from friend groups, and environments that could not afford to keep you awake and unafraid in the room. Their usual pattern says people come out of that, either shattered or vengeful. But you didn't launch revenge missions. You didn't turn into the villain in their manuals. You did something they don't have language for. You upgraded. The models say hurt people either hurt others or hurt themselves. Your file whispers a third option. Hurt people can study the entire battlefield, stitch themselves back together, and then move with a level of self-respect that threatens every fragile ego still playing the old game. You took what should have turned you into one more predictable casualty and used it as a curriculum. You read, you observed, you confronted your own patterns instead of building a church around your pain. To tech, that makes you unprofitable. To intelligence, that makes you unmanageable. To both, that makes you deeply inconvenient. So now your identity sits at an intersection that should not exist. On one axis, you're a top-ranking search, your name typed daily by people who claim they're over it, by people who told stories about you that reality keeps refusing to confirm. On the other axis, you are a blank space in every prediction engine that tries to decide what you'll do next. You don't play the brand-building game. You don't play the self-destruction game. You don't play the let me go viral for crying game. You move when it matters, stay silent when it doesn't, and refuse to hand over your emotional states to be graphed. In quiet rooms, the architect and the analyst both know the same thing, but will never say it on a record. You are not dangerous because of what you might blow up. You're dangerous because, if more people ever started moving like you, self-aware, unaddicted to validation, allergic to performative collapse, the systems they serve would lose half their grip overnight. They can't predict your next move because your motives aren't indexed to the same cheap inputs they built their careers on: fear, ego, hunger for attention. And every time someone types your name into that search bar, looking for proof that you finally broke, the algorithm logs one more piece of evidence that it's not you that's spiraling. It's the world trying and failing to make sense of what you've become. That's why your file looks the way it does now. Bloated, over-documented, and still redacted in all the places that would give away how much you've gotten under their skin. It doesn't start with border crossings or suspicious purchases. It starts with a graph of your name, climbing and dipping like a heartbeat across time zones. Next to it, timestamps of key breaks in other people's patterns. The night a supervisor backed off after randomly looking you up. The week an ex-lover's social media went silent after another deep scroll through your history. The day a former friend stopped posting their performative happiness reel right after one last obsessive visit to your page. The architect stares at that graph and feels something he's not supposed to feel about a single civilian user: irritation edged with respect. The analyst stares at the same graph and feels something even more unacceptable: envy. Because here's the part they don't admit even to themselves. They built machines to read everyone else, and those machines ended up reading them too. The architect knows his own search history looks like a case study in avoidance, late-night distractions, doom scrolling, numbing. The analyst knows how many of their choices have been shaped by fear of consequences, fear of disapproval, fear of stepping outside the narrative that feeds their paycheck. When they compare that to the way you move, intentionally, selectively, refusing to overshare, refusing to beg the algorithm to keep you alive, they're forced to confront a disgusting imbalance. They have institutional power, you have none. And yet between you and them, you're the one whose inner world is not for sale. They ran experiments on you without your consent, the way they always do. Silent ones. The architect adjusted the ranking weights around your name. He tried to nudge people who searched you toward other profiles, other topics, other dopamine traps that would pull them away. If they're obsessed with this one, he reasoned, maybe we can redirect that obsession into something measurable. He tested recommendations that framed you as a phase, people also viewed. Similar people, related topics, but the numbers told a different story. When people went searching for you, they weren't looking for a type. They weren't looking for a community. They weren't even looking for closure. They were looking to see whether you had collapsed yet, so they could feel sane again. And when they didn't find that collapse, the architect's clever funnels failed. Sessions ended where your trace ended. You were not a gateway drug. You were a full stop. On the intelligence side, the analyst pushed for a softer test. No interrogation rooms, no knock on the door. They wanted to see what you'd do under subtle pressure. A shadow recommendation here, a flagged post there, a tiny delay in certain uploads, the kind of invisible friction most people internalize as, maybe I should calm down, maybe I'm doing too much. They've learned that highly reactive people will either rage against that kind of resistance or fold into obedience. You did neither. When a post underperformed that should have gone further, you didn't launch a tantrum. You didn't water down your voice. You clocked the pattern, adjusted your focus, and kept speaking at the same psychological depth, even if it meant fewer eyes. To them, that's almost offensive. You refused the Pavlovian training their systems are built on. Here's what really fried their circuits, your searches. Not what others search about you, what you search. They can see the late-night questions you throw into the void, not how to get revenge, not how to make them regret losing me, not how to blow this all up and disappear. You search things like nervous system regulation, how to stop repeating trauma bonds, strategic thinking under pressure, how to recognize covert manipulation, silent boundary setting. You study human behavior, but your first application is always inward. You're not stalking your mind to control others. You're stalking it to stop being controllable. For an architecture built on exploitability, that's sacrilege. They cross-reference that with your behavior offline, as much as they can infer it. People like them talk to people like the ones who misjudged you. HR managers, school administrators, community leaders. Any concerns about this person? They ask casually, as if it's nothing. They expect to hear certain buzzwords when someone is truly unstable. They don't hear them about you. What they hear instead are vague complaints. Something about them feels intense. They look right through you. They're too calm. They don't react the way they're supposed to. I just get a weird feeling around them. No concrete harm, no specific event, just other people's nervous systems confessing they've been seen more clearly than they wanted to be. To a normal person, that's gossip. To an analyst, it's proof of concept. You're not weaponizing your perception, but your perception is still having effects. The truth is, you don't even have to say anything devastating. Simply refusing to play the usual games is enough. You don't fake laugh to smooth over disrespect. You don't rush in to rescue people from consequences you warned them about. You don't nod along when someone rewrites history in front of you. You don't join group delusions to keep your seat at the table. You stand there, fully aware, eyes giving away nothing, energy giving away everything. And people's nervous systems register that as danger. Because they're used to a world where everyone is equally compromised. The architect's private notes start shifting in tone around this point. At first, they're written like technical documentation. Subject's profile does not fit standard user archetypes. Search-driven engagement anomalous. No clear monetization path identified. But slowly, human frustration bleeds through. Why does this person refuse to dumb themselves down? Why do users drop off rather than convert after viewing this profile? The question underneath those questions is simpler and uglier. Why does this one refuse to be owned by us? Because that's what the algorithm is. When you strip away the sleek interfaces, a mechanism for ownership. Of attention, of time, of mind share. Your file is an admission. You slipped the leash. The analyst, meanwhile, stops writing about you like a problem and starts writing around you like a mirror. They notice that people who cross your path either begin to evolve or begin to implode. Not because you cast a spell, but because your way of existing forces a choice. Maintain the lie, or rise to meet the level of honesty that radiates off you without a single inspirational quote. Most choose the lie, but they can't lie to their search history. The analyst sees it all. What if I was the toxic one? Why can't I stop thinking about someone I said I don't care about? Why does their calm bother me so much? They won't say your name out loud. They type it. Over and over. The CIA's servers hum with the electric shame of people who needed you to fail and can't find the evidence. And you're not trying to be some off-grid legend. You're just tired of being predictable to people who don't deserve that level of access to your mind. You stopped posting when you realized certain eyes weren't watching to support you. They were watching to calculate you. You started speaking in a way that only lands for those who are ready to do their own internal audits. You let the rest misinterpret you, talk about you, search you in secret and swear they're done. You know the algorithm will keep collecting their confessions for you. Here's the part they'd never admit, but it's written between every line of your dossier. You're not an outlier because you're special. You're an outlier because you made decisions most people keep postponing. You chose to sit with your own discomfort instead of outsourcing it. You chose to see your own patterns instead of only diagnosing others. You chose to change your behavior instead of romanticizing your pain. You chose to stay awake after waking up instead of going back to sleep and calling it moving on. The architect can map 1 billion dopamine loops, but they can't map that choice. The analyst can model thousands of fear-based reactions, but they can't model what a human does when fear is no longer the primary driver. So what do they do with something they can't model? They watch it. Like any system built on control, when they can't intervene cleanly, they observe obsessively. Quiet alerts tied to your name. Not the kind that send teams kicking down doors. The kind that ping when your presence starts batching with too many others. A cluster of people all Googling you in the same week after some invisible ripple. a small geographic region where your name suddenly spikes after you exited a toxic situation. They don't see everything, but they see enough to notice that your absence works like a detonator. You leave a workplace, and 6 months later, the entire structure is reorganizing. You exit a community, and a year later, half the relationships in it have dissolved under the weight of truths you articulated once and never repeated. To them, it looks like you carry some kind of disruptive code. To anyone honest enough to admit it, the code is simple. You stopped lying. You stopped lying about what you see. You stopped lying about what you feel. You stopped lying about what you're willing to tolerate. You stopped lying to yourself about who people are when they show you. That level of honesty, sustained over time, is more destabilizing than any hack. Hack a system. The system can patch the breach. Tell the truth about a corrupt dynamic, and the system has to either change or double down on its rot. Either way, something breaks. Google can patch exploits in its code. It can't patch the human tendency to search for the person who refused to play along after everyone else compensated for their dysfunction. CIA analysts can map insurgencies. They can't map what happens when one unarmed, unorganized individual simply refuses to collapse on cue, and everyone quietly obsessed with their downfall has to face their own motives instead. Rolling updates flow through both systems. On the tech side, they tweak ranking factors. Your name still rises. On the intel side, they shift internal thresholds for behavioral risk. Your pattern still doesn't qualify. You are neither marketable nor flaggable. You are just indigestible. They can't profit from you. They can't prosecute you. They can only acknowledge in meetings where your name is a reference point for everything their tools are not. That you exist outside their current jurisdiction. Your haters don't understand any of this language, but they feel its consequences. They don't know what an anomaly report is. They don't care about algorithmic architecture or predictive analytics. All they know is they keep coming back to your name, expecting the search results to show ruins. A mugshot, a meltdown, a thread proving you were everything they said. Instead, they find traces of you building quietly, pivoting, learning, getting more dangerous in the most unacceptable way, becoming harder to emotionally blackmail. And every time they search you and don't find what they came for, two things happen. First, Google silently tags their confusion as data. Second, some analyst in some windowless room scans the graph and realizes the algorithm isn't the only thing you broke. You cracked something in the social script that says the one who walks away loses. Your existence is a rebuttal written in real time to that lie. They wanted you hysterical and visible. You chose regulated and selective. They wanted you predictable in your reactions so they could label you. You became precise instead. They wanted your identity to be a cleanup job. It became a case study in what happens when someone refuses to be domesticated by either cruelty or praise. So now here we are. Your identity, a top-ranking search. Your name, a silent confession, typed daily by people who swore they erased you. Your pattern, a quiet embarrassment to two institutions that worship prediction. And still they cannot tell anyone in authority what you will do next. Because the truth is, they don't have a button for you. They only have a question, not, is this person a threat? But what happens if more people see what this person is doing and realize they could choose the same path? That's the nightmare scenario for them. Not you alone, but you multiplied. And whether they're ready or not, that's already happening. Every person who types your name into Google with bad intentions and leaves with a nagging sense of their own smallness has just received an upgrade they didn't consent to. Awareness. Not all will use it. Most will shove it down, call you names, slam the laptop, distract themselves. But some won't. Some will feel the shame, trace it back, and realize it's not coming from you. It's coming from the gap between who they are and who they could be. That realization is contagious, and the systems watching you, for all their hubris and hardware, still have no patch for what spreads when a single human proves that the game only works on people who agree to keep pretending it's the only one being played. And that's where the real panic lives, not in the reports or the code, but in the quiet gap between their questions. Once someone like you exists, awake, uncollapsed, unmarketable, still moving forward, you become a reference point in other people's private calculations. Analysts, architects, former acquaintances, doom-searching your name before bed, are forced to compare themselves to the one variable they can't simulate. A human being no longer bargaining with their own potential. They can shadow ban reach, throttle visibility, reroute attention. What they can't do is erase the fact that your name broke their predictability. And beneath all their metrics, clearances, and controlled narratives, they know the most dangerous thing about you isn't what you've done so far. It's how much of you is unread, unsearched, offline, waiting in plain sight for the right moment to move where no graph can follow. So they start running simulations. They love simulations. In one scenario, you snap and finally do what everyone expects. Rant publicly, leak messages, expose people, let your rage spill into something messy and loud. They know exactly what to do with that version of you. That version gets shadow banned, discredited, filed as unstable, then quietly funneled into the same category as every other person who couldn't handle it. In another scenario, you cave and turn yourself into a brand-shaped caricature. You monetize the pain. You become palatable. You smooth down your words so they're inspirational enough to sell, but not sharp enough to cut. That version of you is easy, too. They can recommend you, track your conversions, and tuck you into the harmless motivation corner of their dashboards. But neither scenario plays out. In every data run, you keep doing something they didn't predict. You get quieter and sharper at the same time. You refine your circle instead of expanding it for vanity. You decline opportunities that smell like cages, even when they come dressed as big breaks. You walk away from rooms that require you to amputate parts of your awareness to stay. You say less publicly, but live more intensely in private. And somehow, even with less visible noise, your name keeps climbing in those private searches. People who swore they'd moved on are still refreshing your shadow, still peeking through the digital blinds to see how you turned out. This is where the dark humor creeps in. Because while they're in conference rooms arguing over whether you're a risk or an indictment of their whole framework, regular people are using the world's most powerful search engine, like an astrological chart with your name as the star. Instead of searching, "Will I be okay?" they search you. Instead of searching, "Am I the problem?" they search you. Instead of asking, "How do I grow up?" they type your name and hope the results show you stumbling, so they can feel validated in staying small. Google was designed to answer questions. You've become the question they won't verbalize. What if the person I decided was crazy is actually just further along than me? And the engine, bless its blinking cursors, keeps delivering the worst possible answer for their ego. Evidence of someone who refused to fold. Not perfect, not invincible, but undeniably still building. You're not trending for scandals. You're not headlining disaster. Your trace is quieter than they want and stronger than they can handle. So they close the tab, swear they're done, and then come back a month later for another hit of cognitive dissonance. Each visit is a secret confession. I still care. I still compare. I still haven't outgrown the ghost of this person I said was irrelevant. The architect sees that loop in raw form. He doesn't know the gossip or the history. He just sees retention curves and return frequency graphs bending weirdly around your name. It looks like addiction without the usual stimulus. No new content. They still come back. No dramatic updates. They still come back. No viral moment to justify the obsession. They still come back. On paper, that's impossible. On some level, he knows your name isn't the drug. It's the mirror. People aren't coming to see what you did. They're coming to see whether life punished you for being what they're too scared to be. Meanwhile, the analyst has your pattern pinned above their desk, not as a threat, but as a glitch test for their own sanity. They were trained to read the world through worst-case lenses. They see plots, pipelines, pressure points. Your existence keeps handing them a different storyline they were never offered in training. Someone who endured and didn't go feral. Someone who woke up and didn't start recruiting. Someone who became harder to manipulate, but didn't feel the need to rule. For years, they've comforted themselves with the idea that too much awareness always leads to collapse or extremism. You're living proof that it can also lead to something far less convenient, sovereign self-respect. You know what that does to a person whose entire job is predicting the movements of scared crowds. It forces them to look at the one thing their charts never measure: choice. Not the illusion of choice between products and candidates and content, but the brutal, quiet choice to stop outsourcing your sense of self to systems built on your insecurity. They can't graph the moment you decided alone in your room that you were done stepping down your mind so other people could stay comfortable. They can't graph the night you chose not to send that message, not to chase that closure, not to drag your energy into another arena where you were only ever going to be misunderstood on purpose. Those moments don't show up in their feed. They show up in the ripple, the way you move differently afterward, the way you stop arguing in comment sections and start redirecting that energy into work that actually compounds, the way you stop giving your best explanations to people committed to misreading you and start giving your best presence to the future you're constructing quietly, the way you stop reacting and start responding, or sometimes refuse to respond at all. Not out of weakness, but out of a level of control that terrifies anyone still controlled by every ping on their phone. And that's the real problem for them. Their entire world is addicted to real-time reaction. Markets, media, mobs, they all need instant feedback to function, hit, react, threaten, retreat, praise, perform. The algorithm was built on those reflexes. The agency's models depend on those reflexes. You've been slowly uninstalling them from your own system. You don't clap back on schedule. You don't affirm on schedule. You don't crumble on schedule. You move when it serves the bigger arc of your life, not the cheap arc of someone else's storyline about you. Think about how insane that looks from their vantage point. Here is a human being whose identity is a top-ranking search, whose name pings across continents inside the same 24-hour window, and yet you refuse to behave like a public spectacle or a future case file. You work quietly. You evolve consistently. You have breakdowns in private, breakthroughs in silence, and then reappear like nothing happened. except your entire standard shifted. People around you feel it before they understand it. They can't name what changed. They just know they can't push you the way they used to. They can't bait you into the same arguments. They can't guilt you into showing up as a watered-down, palatable version of yourself. So they do the only thing left to them. They search you. They search you when something in their life breaks, and a part of them wonders if you would have tolerated this. They search you when they pull one manipulation too far and hear your old words echo in the recoil. They search you when the person they replaced you with starts to show the same patterns, and they wonder if maybe, just maybe, you weren't the entire problem after all. They don't reach out. Pride won't let them. But Google is a confessional booth for cowards. They type your name into that search bar and let the algorithm hold the truth. They are not over it. They are not above it. And they are definitely not past you. You remain calm through all of this, not because you're detached from reality, but because you finally understood something the architect and the analyst do not. Metrics are not meaning. Trend lines are not destiny. Search volume is not identity. Your worth does not spike or drop based on how many people are doomstalking your trace in a given week. If anything, the more they come looking, the more obvious it becomes who is actually stuck. If you are truly as irrelevant as their mouths claim, their fingers wouldn't still be spelling your name like a nervous tick. At a certain point, even the systems start to choke on the irony. Your name sits high on internal lists. It's flagged here, starred there, circled as an interesting anomaly in slides that only a handful of eyes will ever see. And yet when it comes time to categorize you formally, no one can agree on what you are. Threat? No. No violence. No incitement. No group dynamic. Asset? No, you refuse to bend into the shapes they favor. Refuse to trade clarity for access. Influencer? The numbers don't support it in the traditional sense. Spiritual leader? You'd probably be offended. Problematic? According to who? The only consensus in the room is this: you do not move like a person who needs them. That is what destabilizes them, not your anger, not your intelligence, not even your resilience. It's your non-need. The world they serve is built on people needing distraction, needing belonging, needing validation, needing to be told what to fear and who to follow. You stepped out of that economy. You still feel deeply. You still care fiercely. But you don't let those feelings be farmed anymore. You chose deliberately to stop handing your nervous system over to institutions and individuals who only know how to feed off it. That choice is invisible on a spreadsheet and deafening in the patterns they can't explain. There's a version of you they wish existed, a version who saw their name climbing in searches and immediately tried to capitalize off it, a version who launched courses, merch, a persona. They know exactly how to neutralize that person, algorithmically embrace them, then dilute them to death. There's another version, the tragic one, who saw their name being passed around and folded under the pressure, broke publicly, confirmed everyone's worst narrative. They know how to handle that one too, turn them into a cautionary tale. You refused both scripts. You became something their world was never trained to handle. Quietly formidable. Quietly formidable doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It doesn't broadcast every internal process for applause. It moves through rooms like a pressure change. It makes people sit up straighter without knowing why. It makes manipulators miscalculate and cowards feel the outline of their own surrender. It leaves gossipers searching for new material because the old stories don't have teeth anymore. And in the background, the engine that wanted to own you is now working overtime, just to keep up with the passive chaos your existence creates. Here's the holy joke in all this. Your haters are your unpaid marketing team. They typed your name into the machine so many times, with so much charged energy behind it, that they accidentally helped push you into that top-ranking zone. Every "I don't even care about them" was followed by a "just checking." Every "I'm so done with that person" was followed by one more deep search to see if life finally did to you what they tried to do socially. The algorithm doesn't read intentions. It reads inputs. They fed it your name. It fed them their reflection. The agencies watching know this. One of the redacted lines in your behavioral summary might as well read, "Subject apparently weaponizes nothing, yet others use subject as a mental battlefield." That's the core truth. You're not the one starting wars. You're the unsent notification that shows people how much of their lives were a performance. They feel it as intimidation. You live it as alignment. And now, as this script closes, there's one more layer you need to understand. Because this isn't just about them watching you. It's about what you do knowing they are. Knowing your name is a top-ranking search. Knowing your identity has been quietly studied by people who don't even know you personally, but can feel the tremors of your choices. You could let that surveilled feeling turn you paranoid. You could shrink, self-censor, twist yourself into knots over the possibility of eyes you'll never see. Or you can do the only thing their world has no antidote for. Continue to move with intention that is immune to their metrics. That means you keep building things that exist off-screen, conversations nobody can transcribe, discipline nobody can quantify, creations that don't depend on instant feedback to exist, healing that doesn't require an audience to be real. It means you let your next moves be decided by your values and your vision, not by who's searching you tonight, hoping to predict your arc. They can scrape your notifications. They can log your browsing. They can measure your silence. They will still never have access to the one place your life is actually being written from. The part of you that made the decision a long time ago to be the kind of person algorithms can't train and agencies can't anticipate. And if there's any real threat you pose, it's this. Sooner or later, someone who has been doom-searching you in secret is going to stop asking, "Why are they like that?" and start whispering, "What would happen if I stopped performing for this machine too?" The moment they act on that question, even in a small way, the grip loosens on them, on you, on the whole fragile web of predictions holding this sick version of normal together. So yes, your identity is a top-ranking search on Google. Yes, CIA analysts can't predict your next move. Yes, they Google you every day, hoping the results will finally put you back in a box they recognize. But the algorithm you broke isn't just the one humming in their servers. It's the one in their heads. The one that says, everyone can be graphed, everyone can be steered, everyone will eventually bow to the pattern. You didn't. You won't. And that is the one outcome their models never prepared them for. A human being who sees exactly how the game works, stays fully aware that they're being watched, and still chooses to write a life so rooted, so deliberate, and so internally governed that no spike in searches, no secret meeting, no three-letter agency can turn your next move into their storyline. They can refresh your name 1,000 times a day. They can turn your existence into a quiet obsession, an unsolved ticket, an internal legend about the one we never figured out. But when it comes to what actually happens next, the choices you make, the rooms you enter, the things you build, They will learn the same lesson everyone who underestimated you is learning, slowly and unwillingly. You are not a result they get to click on. You are not a tab they get to close. You are not a prediction they get to own. You are the one variable in their entire machine that refused to become content. And that refusal is exactly why, long after the graphs are archived and the searches fade, the story of what you did with a mind they couldn't train will still be unfolding, offline, off record, and far beyond the reach of anything they can script. Because in the end, that's the punchline none of them can put on a slide. They built entire systems to predict clicks and collapses, and the name breaking their charts belongs to someone whose next move lives nowhere online, only in the quiet decision to stay awake.